from New York Times, and it's from MSN, from New York Times, and it's called "The Sex Cult That Preached Empowerment." And it's by Vanessa Gregoriadis. Starts off to say, one winter morning in a conventional suburb outside Albany, New York, Nancy Salzman, 63-year-old president of a self-improvement company named Nixon, sat on a mahogany-colored stool in her kitchen. Her tasteful home was surrounded by Nixon members, modest townhomes, and Caprias, stone mansions that seemed to spring up out of nowhere like mushrooms on the suburban streets. Salzman then a photo of her with two adult daughters hung on the wall. The three of them wearing smiles as wide as ancient Greek masks of comedy. The same happy photo served as wallpaper on the Salzman laptop. The hairless Sphinx cat prowled the lovely buffet of croissants and fruit on her kitchen island. Salzman, an extreme fit woman wearing the type of thin athlete shirt, sweatshirt that's all the rage in the middle-aged bourgeoisie, I think it's bourgeoisie these days, turned her attention to a woman sitting on the island. Jacqueline, 27-year-old with long hair, who was a psychology student in college, told me that she hadn't experienced anything like the effect of Nixon, pronounced Nexium, like heartburn medication. Like scientist L. Ron Hubbard, whose 1950 handbook Dianetics was built at the modern science of mental health, and whose pseudo-scientific methods were, in his view, world-changing. Keith Rainier, Nexium's 57-year-old founder, believes Orwellian could head individuals and transform the world. With that, Nexium did this. The way Nexium did this was through techniques of technology, meant to rewrite your emotional state himself. Sign up for the morning briefing newsletter. Those are ads. Says here, Salzman, who is training in neurolinguistics programming, which involves hypnosis and techniques of mirroring other individuals to create deeper rapport, was about to embark on a therapy session in which she would ask Jacqueline to cast her mind back to her childhood, as next sessions often do. Jacqueline had come to her with a phobia. She flips out when she gets on a plane. One time she had to get off a plane that had boarded. Because she became nervous and she wanted to get back on. The flight attendants wouldn't let her. Salzman nodded in a near whisper. Jacqueline asked Jacqueline a stream of intimate questions, not only about her fear of flying, but also about her parents' relationship. She ascertained that Jacqueline believed her mother was ill-used by her father, who forced the family to move often by air. It was always gray around her, Jacqueline said sadly of her mother. She had a horrible life, but at the same time, she said her upbringing made her feel as if she always needed a man to protect her. Listening to Salzman's questions, it became clear that she was positing that these are issues. Jacqueline's fear of flying. Jacqueline's fear of flying. Her belief that her mother was forced into a terrible life by her father, and her inability to be an independent woman were connected. We are controlling our own lives all the time, Sullivan said. We are in complete control. Jacqueline's mother had been in control, but had chosen to be a victim. and Jacqueline was in control and had chosen to be a victim too. Are you pretending to be a helpless woman? Salzman said earlier. That's the way I receive attention. That's kind of my thing, Jacqueline said. Women are allowed to be dependent on men, Salzman explained. A great part of being a woman is no matter how you screw up in life, you can always move back with your dad. Every time you have chosen to stay dependent, you have made a decision not to be independent. What if she became the person she relied on? Within a half an hour, Jacqueline had upgraded her belief system. Closing her eyes, she said the tightness of her chest that she typically got when she thought about flying was gone. She also agreed that, to do one thing that terrified her each day for the next 30 days. And on the day she indulged in a man's attention, she would do two terrifying things. Facing your fears, especially in conjunction with penance, was key to Nixon. As Jacqueline prepared to leave, the two women hugged. I don't know what happened, she said. I feel very good. I feel really good. The scene at Salzman's home was intense but mostly cheery. Yet last October, the New York Times published an article reporting alarming practices by Nixon. The article explained that some female members of the group who called themselves masters had initiated the other women calling themselves slaves into a ritual of sisterhood at homes in and around Clifton Park and near Albany. First, they stripped naked, one by one, laying on the massage table, while a female osteopath, also a Nixon member, used a cauterizing pen to brand the flesh near the pelvic bone. He carved a symbol that some woman thought represented four elements of seven chakras, around a horizontal bar with the Greek letter alpha and mu. If you squinted and looked again, it contained within them a different talisman, K and R, Rainier's initials. Not all the women were told these initials were present in the symbol. Hundreds of members fled NXIVM after they learned about the branding, but much of the inner circle remained, citing the fact that Rainier had a cast of girlfriends. The media declared that NXIVM was not a self-improvement company, but rather a sex slave cult. The federal investigation opened, culminating in Mexican police officers plucking Rainier from pricey villa. He is now in a federal jail on the Brooklyn waterfront after being denied bail as a flight risk. Although NXIVM members Allison Mack, blonde actress who played Clark Kent's girlfriend in Long Run Smallville, was arrested later and released on $5 million bail. Rainier and Mack were charged with sex trafficking and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking and forced labor. Federal agents also raided Salzman's home, seizing $523,000 cash and some of it in shoeboxes. She has not been charged with a crime to date. The group found itself under a microscope. The group found itself under a microscope. Its secrets exposed. Some members claim the highest regions of society formed. Some members in the highest regions of society, Some members came from the highest reaches from. Some members came from the highest reaches of society, forming the Kindness Harris Illuminati. There were two daughters, Edgar Brofman, Sr., the former head of a Seagram company, and Pamela Caffritz, who died in 2016, and daughter political journal Bill and Buffy Caffritz, a number of well-to-do Mexicans, including Emilio Salinas, son of former Mexican President Carlos Salinas de Gortari, and who has since, publicly disavowed Rainier but remains affiliated with the group. and Rosa Laurel Junco, a daughter of President and chief executive newspaper publisher of Grupo Reforma, as well as prominent TV genre actress who discovered Nixon on location in Vancouver, including Nikki Klein from Battlestar Galactica and of course Mac. Goes on to say these puzzle pieces formed an ultimate tabloid story in an age of vast tabloidification of media and a tale about female empowerment and lack thereof in the time of feminist uprising laced with questions of consent and coercion wielded by a man without accountability. Some women were severely thin, possibly as a means of mind control. The key to factors began speaking out. Both were upset. Sarah Edmondson, a former leader of NXIVM's Vancouver chapter, wrote by email recently about why she and her husband left after a decade in the organization, and disgusted by the brand and a lot more. Nothing was what we thought it was. Quote. Goes on to say, from inside the group, all this looks very different. Come on, man, this sounds like a bad horror movie. A member of the Eduardo Asunsolo told me incredulously about the recent media coverage. Since the group's founding in 1998, it has been a tightly knit organization like a family. As Rainier had described it, about 17,000 people have come through NXIVM's doors, with a number of those having committed for life was far smaller, perhaps in the hundreds. Parentheses, by comparison, about 25,000 individuals in the United States are self-identified Scientologists. Parentheses. Members believed that Rainier could heal them in emotional traumas, set them free from their fears and attachments, clear patterns of destructive thinking. Some believe they can heal them sexually too. This is the white-collar spiritual path, the next member says. If you're a monk, or you're on a monk's path, but you're not wearing a red robe with a shaved head. Read more about the secretive group NXIVM. Okay, that's just... And it says here, Rainier presented himself as a great philosopher, an ethical man, and a scientist pushing the bounds of human capability. He had not only devised the classroom-based courses that lasted as long as 12 hours a day for 16 days, recalling the Landmark Forum, a group therapy company that had its origins in the 1970s in conscious-raising seminars at EST. But also advocated his followers control habits of mind and body like food and exercise. He also seemed to have a unique pulsating idea of resonating with women, particularly wealthy ones. This is an intersection of theories about femininity, victimhood, and money and ethics. Much of it influenced by Ayn Rand, one of Rainier's favorite authors. The ultimate NXIVM member was potent NXIVM Lincoln, not only rich but emotionally disciplined, self-controlled, attractive, physically fit, and slender. Or, in the words of most members themselves, preferred badass. Much of today's upper class is engaged in a frenzy of self-improvement. They want to be skinnier, healthier, look younger, smarter, nicer, more loving, and since Trump is in the presidency, more politically aware too. But were they truly improving? They may eat more vegetables than but this age seems more narcissistic than any before. More beholden to snake oil that has put many individuals in the grip of uneasy self-image, toggling between unrealistic grandiosity and soul-crushing envy. When NXIVM positions itself as a true self-improvement gospel. Excuse me. As I observed Solomon's kitchen in Its core tenet was widely optimistic. Members believe that humans can alter our emotional triggers and our beliefs about ourselves, particularly those formed in childhood. We don't need to be angry because our mothers withheld love, or selfish or self-protective because we were bullied in school, or fall in love with the people who bestowed gifts upon us because we loved a grandmother who did. The unexamined among us allow these ancient self-perceptions to run the show in current times, but not in Nexians. They integrate and experience intense hypnotic and secret-telling sessions like the one I saw in Explorations of Meaning. In the EM, you often explore the meaning of memory and observe the misperception that has made it painful, thus reducing power the memory holds over you today. The most potent way to destroy an emotional trigger to permanently change the way you process it, former told me, experiencing integration after integration, the Nexium feels light, buoyant, and powerful, more powerful than before. We are trying to create joy, in quotations, another member said. Breaking down identity was the first part of the Nexium. Replacing identity with another, replacing data with data. Nexium speak was the second part. As Nexiums erased fears, they began doing what they truly wanted to do with their lives, or perhaps Rainier rank members wanted to do with them. Okay. I talked to a banker who remade himself as an actor. I talked to a diversity specialist at a Connecticut boarding school who decided she wanted to start a farm. India Oxenberg, a daughter of the Dynasty actress Catherine Oxenberg, spoke to me about taking courses taught by the group in Los Angeles. She wanted to feel closer to her friends, boyfriend, and family, whom she often felt like pushing away, whom she felt, not to use such a harsh word, but so repulsed by. Why can't I just be in the same room with my family, who I love, but at the same time, I want to crawl out of my skin and run away. As she took Nexium's course, she said she realized that I'm the one who is choosing to feel bad about the situation. She also decided that she didn't want to be in the entertainment business. She wanted to be a caterer. Oxenberg moved to Nexium motherland, Clifton Park, to focus on my growth, in quotations. She signed up for Goose University, which can reportedly cost $5,000 a month. Rainier's courses largely teach neurolinguistics, programming techniques, introductory ethical and psychological theory, and which students are encouraged to understand in the context of their own lives. Oxenberg took the courses like Mobius, and healing parts of yourself that you reject, and not hating them in other people. And human pain, about understanding that love and pain are often together. Nexiums have the power of penance at the time of tested shortcut to achieving self-improvement. Oxenberg took long walks alongside Rainier, her guru, to discuss her goals. He encouraged her to start her own business, and she did, calling her catering company Mix, because it was a mix of vegan, vegetarian, and Mexican food. She was done cooking. She delivered meals to suburban dwellings in a BMW. Says many members and ex-members of Nexium that I spoke with, most of them fans of the science and math, funny and strikingly perceptive, agreed on one thing: the technology worked. Rainier could program you. He also solved the equation of how to be a joyful human. Decide on your ethics, make them the guiding force in your life. Do not make decisions that are not in line with those ethics. Look to create strength and character through discipline. Look to create love. Do not reject your family unless your family rejects Nexium, in which case some other steps may be necessary. Do not be a slave to your fears and attachments. Pain it creates conscience. Do not be afraid of pain. NXIVM had not granted access to a journalist for an article for 14 years before it gave me a tightly staged and managed tour on the leadership and operations this winter ahead of the potential indictments. It remains highly secretive and exquisitely paranoid. The members not only tape recorded my interviews with them, but they had a practice of extensively taping or video recording within the group, including documenting many of the Rainier statements. They have also answered some defectors, journalists and critics with lawsuits. The New Jersey-based lawyer Peter Skolnick, who represented the author of Nutty Called Deprogrammer Rick Ross in 14 years suit with NXIVM, told me he estimated their cost of the suits at $50 million. Hold on a second. He goes on to say, my initial contact with NXIVM was Claire Broniff, one of the Broniff daughters who are staunch supporters. To meet her, I traveled to Mexico, where NXIVM had built educational centers where she was staying in Rainier, in an urban location where it was asked not to reveal. This is a fancy neighborhood of gated homes, German cars, and builders. Cranes created more expensive apartments. They were staying there on the advice of lawyers and consultants, also because the Broniff was fearful in the United States. He was fearful here in Mexico too, worried that someone connected with her disgruntled member or someone who had read about her wealth might kidnap her and she was out for a job. Broniff, who was riot polite, we met at one of NXIVM's mid-century chic Mexican centers behind a gate. She walked its airy halls, gesturing to the room where he kept the instruction materials with the key padlock on the door. A framed photograph of Rainier hanging on the wall and a stenciled quote from him or another, in quotations, if in the next moment your behavior would affect all of humanity forevermore, how would you behave? Every moment is such a moment, in quotations. It says, she took a seat on a cozy couch set up for intimate chats among members. Broniff told me she was an introvert and her voice was soft and it was drifted away. But she answered my questions directly and seemed highly in touch with her emotions. The only jewelry she wore was Tiffany's most famous piece, a silver outline of heart dangled on a delicate necklace chain. She told me that she had shared a handful of necklaces with a women group on vacation on its owners in Fiji. Just months before Fritz, a bubbling woman who was Rainier's most important long-term girlfriend and beloved mother figure to NXIVM's members, died from cancer. Now, Broniff began crying as she told me about her friend's death. Pause there. So that's an article. I didn't finish it, but it's regarding an article. It's almost a novel. It's a novel article, like a novel documentary article regarding Scientology and NXIVM. Ins and outs of maybe a religion, a cult religion, or something like that involves sex cult and something like that. So I won't finish that, but you can go and finish it if you have on internet access, online, and pertaining to Scientology.